when I get noticed, it's for the right reasons. It's something that I'm excited about. Certainly there's a privacy cost to it, but most of the people who ask for selfies are 11.
Yeah.
And it's
totally cool.
The number one family show that that parents watch with their kids. They show it in elementary and junior high and high schools around the country. It's even in a couple of colleges. I literally have had professors reach out and show me pitches of mine that are in the syllabus for business classes in college and stuff. So I like the interaction I get from that a lot. People are super passionate about that show. That's how I ended up there in the first place. I was busting Cubans' balls about it on Twitter and my buddy Damon John, and then they retweeted me to all of their fans, and these guys went after me. Literally, I was getting tweets like, "What the f have you ever done with your life, loser?"
Yeah.
They're inspiring a nation of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And so I caught up with Cuban. I was like, "What just happened right there? Like the pitchforks are out. I know what an internet mob looks like, and that was one."
Yeah.
And he said, "Look, when it started, it was kind of hokey and a joke, but now it really is the embodiment of the American dream. It is the most crisp illustration of social mobility that there is in this country.
Yeah.
At a time when we're seeing income inequality, when we're seeing, pressure on the most traditional career type jobs, pension funds are evaporating and that kind of stuff, despite the fact that yesterday we got data that incomes are up for everybody but the top % of our economy.
Yeah. It is very interesting.
And across genders and across races too.
The greatest percentage increase is in the bottom, which is really heartening to see.
Yeah. Increase in healthcare coverage, decrease in the poverty rate. It's all been like amazing, amazing data. Thanks, Obama.
Yeah. Thanks, Obama.
Yeah. But despite that, I think there are people who look at this world and say, we don't have the social mobility that we did back when the GI Bill was introduced and these guys could come home and start their own businesses and stuff like that. And so Shark Tank is this reassurance that path is still there.
Yeah.
If you want to gut it out, if you want to hustle, if you want to take a risk, it's there.
Yeah.
And so the stories on that show are really compelling. And I think I've found a lot of personal fulfillment in the people I've worked with on that show. Wow. Frankly, as our business went from single millions of dollars to managing billions and billions of dollars, it becomes a lot less fun. So I'm not going to complain about the money that we made as a result, but the politics are nasty. Knives are out. There's blood on the walls.
Yeah.
And one of my buddies from New York City who I collaborate with is like, wow, in New York, we stab each other in the face. You guys just sneak up and kind of cut the Achilles and let it bleed out.
Yeah.
And like, hey, buddy, what's going on?
Yeah.
And so it's a really nasty business as the dollars get bigger. And in that whole experience, I think I lost touch with what really drew me to this business in the first place.
Which is?
And it's a couple of guys and gals in a room building a product. They have basically unreasonable optimism. They're unbound by reality or experience or anything like that. And they're just singularly driven to succeed when everybody and everything is stacked against them. And that's what that show is. I'll say about that show, it's the most authentic thing on television. So they, and I don't think they do a good job of telling the story of the show.
Right.
This year, I think I have convinced them to put up one whole pitch end to end. The only thing that you don't see from home is that those pitches are an hour and a half long usually.
Yeah.
Because we ask so many questions, way more questions than I get to ask in a regular meeting with a startup.
Yeah.
Certainly more questions that I can ask at a demo day.
Four other people ask questions too.
So there's literally an hour to an hour and a half of pitching that they bring down to 10 minutes of television. But even that editing process is really authentic. There's no gotcha editing.
Right.
They're really trying to present it in the most cohesive way to America. And that's why they have such a large audience and such a faithful audience to that show. But what's interesting is they don't tell us what to say. They don't tell us which deals to do or not do. We have no quota for deals. We're investing our own money there. No one on that show gets paid more than a few bucks more than the minimum amount of money you can be paid to be on a reality television show per union rules.
Yep.
It's real. We don't know anything about those startups before they walk in. If they find out we do, it's disqualified. And so we can have no prior contact with those startups. We aren't allowed to Google things about the market sector, about that startup while they're pitching. So the only information we have to go on is right there.
Right.
And it's real. And I mean, the news isn't real.
Yeah.
Reality television is the opposite of real.
Yeah.
And this show is real.
Hey, everybody, I want to talk to all my startups about something called chargebacks. You know what this is. If you're running an e-commerce company, it's just horrible. It's a disaster. When you get chargebacks, that's when the customer asks to reverse the transaction. It's really hard. It's depressing, right? You may have billed them the wrong amount, or they're dissatisfied with the purchase or unable to resolve it through customer support. It's death as a startup. You don't want chargebacks. And so it can harm your reputation, obviously, and your bottom line. Here's some tips to prevent chargebacks. Number one, make sure your site has very clear product descriptions, visible and refundable, and reasonable refund policy. You have to have that reasonable refund policy. And you want to have a prominent contact there so customers can get support. If they get support, they may not charge back, right? You can get a save. Everybody wants to get that save. So make sure you have a reasonable refund policy and a prominent contact form, email, whatever you use. And even after the customer disputes the charges, you're going to want to be able to prove that you as a merchant are not at fault. So they're going to dispute. There may be a real reason. Sometimes there's people who abuse the system a little bit. You want to have proof that you're not at fault. So Braintree is here to help. Braintree is a payments platform that can help with the issue of chargebacks. There is a dispute dashboard that notifies you of pending chargebacks, and it advises you which docs to upload to challenge them to get the matter resolved. So you want to use Braintree, and you can find out more at braintreepayments.com/twist. braintreepayments.com/twist. You want to get in there, and you want to figure out how to resolve these chargebacks and save your reputation, and in some cases, save a customer. A lot of times when you lose a customer or you have a challenge, if you solve that challenge, like I just had one of the companies I use often, I was in a customer support discussion with them, and they were being persnickety about solving my problem. And I just wrote them back, and I was like, you know what? I don't care if you solve my problem or not, but I just want to let you know there's a lot of competition for what you're providing, and I'll probably just go with another service provider because I didn't really feel appreciated. They immediately wrote me back, and they offered me to solve my problem. So customers are empowered now, and you have to be empowered. You got to use braintreepayments.com/twist, and you want to save those relationships if you can. Okay, thanks, Braintree. Let's get back to this amazing program.